The Alarm NBA DFS show with Jon Impemba and James Grande.
What is going on, FA Nation? Jon Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS Playbook Show. We are here for the 8-game Wednesday slate starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, taking you all the way through the 10 p.m. hour here tonight. James, we did the preview show this morning. We talked about some players that may be in, some players that may be out. We did get some of the bigger news of the day. Giannis going to be out for the Milwaukee Bucks here. And as we discussed, the Celtics basically already have this conference locked up. 10-game lead over Milwaukee in Boston. Now no Giannis. You have to wonder, how that game will even play out. In this one, we got a midday downgrade from Anthony Simons today. So maybe Portland going to be without a guard that you and I were very high on talking about earlier this morning. But then that obviously creates some potential leverage for Scoot Henderson, Delano Banton, and of course, the cover of the morning show was DeAndre Ayton. So, we have some potential plays there. If you go look at the rostership for today's slate, updated or being updated, potentially right before we go
correct.
on. Right now, being updated right now. Couple of Raptors leading the way, including one Jordan Nwora and Jonte Porter. So we're going to be playing those games here again tonight with the low floor chalk. Johnny Davis with his 6 fantasy points last night. It was like
you're doing
too good. Too many
points. Too high. That's too many points.
Yeah. So listen, we're gonna get into it. It's 8 games. We appreciate you all tuning in. Justin in here already. Faisal popping in. So we appreciate you all being with us here today. Before we do jump in, though, I'd be remiss if I didn't at least promote our bracket challenge. Again, the Fantasy Alarm bracket challenge is live. It is completely free to sign up for. There's a $500 prize pool, and the top 50% of finishers will split that $500 prize pool. The top 3 finishers win an annual Fantasy Alarm subscription, good for the year. So no reason not to sign up. You scan the QR code there or go to fantasyalarm.com/bracket. I also believe the article is like the main article on the website as well right now. So you click into the article, the bracket's right there. You sign up, you register your phone number. It's all it takes. It's being supported by Better Edge, our partner that we promoted a lot on this show here today. They're the ones putting up the $500 for the prize pool as well. So completely free. Fill out your bracket, get a chance to win some money, and maybe even a Fantasy Alarm annual subscription if you're not already a member. So again, fantasyalarm.com/bracket or scan that QR code right there on the screen today. Tournament starts tomorrow. So, you're running out of time to sign up and get involved with the bracket challenge going on here today. That said, let's just jump into today's slate here. As we mentioned, we have 8 games on the board. We're looking at some totals and matchups for tonight's game here. 7 p.m. start time, Miami, Cleveland. Cleveland giving 1.5. 205 total there. Jimmy Butler was seen at the shoot-around this morning. Was Bam questionable, though? Bam
he downgraded. He was downgraded this morning. Yeah,
so that's interesting. That's going to be an interesting one to watch. Obviously, if he ends up being ruled out here, given the Jared Allen matchup that we could then lean into. Indiana versus Detroit. Detroit getting 10.5. We had some injury news on the Pistons earlier today. Isaiah Stewart out for the season for Detroit there. So something to continue to watch.
And Osor Thompson as well.
And Osor Thompson as well. So we are still waiting on a couple of names in that side of the game, but they're getting 10.5 at home. 235.5 total. Milwaukee, Boston. Kind of surprised the line didn't move a ton here without Giannis. They opened at 8.5. It's up to 10.5 now as favorites here. 225.5 total. Sacramento, Toronto. Toronto getting 11.5. 233.5 total. Utah, OKC. OKC is up to a 16-point home favorite. 232 total there. Memphis, Golden State. Golden State, an 11-point home favorite. 219. Philly, Phoenix. Phoenix giving 9 at home. 223 total. And then our last game on the slate. Clippers, Portland. Portland getting 12.5 at home. 216 total there.
There's a lot of interesting late swap possibilities today. With the 2 10 p.m. games with so much. Well, there's 3, but there's 2 of them have like a lot of news. There's a lot of potential for really sharp plays today. And also, just a note on the Boston-Milwaukee front. I'm not saying that Boston's going to lose at home, and also I'm not insinuating anything either. The last 2 games that Giannis has missed, John, the other day against Phoenix, and Milwaukee scored 140 points and beat Phoenix by 11. And then they also played against the Clippers early March and also beat the Clippers by 7. So, they've looked pretty good. They're 3-1 without Giannis this year with a 40-point loss.
Yeah.
Cleveland, if you remember that game, being the one I played Chris Middleton. I'll never forget Chris Middleton did not score going into halftime. So I remember that game. So they're 3-1 without Giannis this year. We also don't definitively have the full scope of what Boston's going to do. So, I would say if we had gotten Giannis downgrade and then Brown, Holiday, Hauser all rolled in, that line probably would have moved a little bit more. But
right.
We still don't have official word on what Boston's going to do.
Yeah, Boston, like you said, Brown, Holiday, Hauser, all questionable here for this one. And sometimes when other guys get ruled out, teams then also rule out their players as well. So we could see where they're going. Boston really has zero reason to be going hard here. For the rest of this year, again, 10-game lead over the team they're facing here tonight. So, we could just start seeing guys limited, like we saw the other day. Kristaps Porzingis played that game. He played 6 first half minutes. He played 20 minutes total, and that was it. That could just be Porzingis for the next 3 weeks. So, just keeping him healthy, keeping him ready to go. Guys, if you have any questions, feel free to throw them in the chat here. Certainly happy to help you out. Jimmy here, I have a question on point guards when we're there. We're talking about the point guard position right now. So let's just get into it. Point guard up the top, SGA, but as you mentioned, they're 16-point home favorites. 10-4 in a 16 potential blowout game. Maybe. Booker, Lillard, Fox round out your 9K and above tier. Again, none of these games are really in competitive spots outside of the Booker matchup. Where are you when it comes to the top half of the guard position here tonight, James?
This is a tough one tonight, John. This is a tough one. Because obviously, if Utah were to keep it close, SGA is in a tremendous spot. Obviously, if Milwaukee keeps it close, Dame is in an amazing spot.
And he's probably the reason for it.
Yes. Undoubtedly. The reason, undoubtedly. De'Aaron Fox, we know Sacramento can't put teams away typically, but, they're facing a really shorthanded Toronto team. And, we've kind of, pooped on Sacramento all year. They're still not, they're still a playoff team, right? They're, pacing almost at the same record as they were last year, but just the Western Conference is better this year. The Kings aren't even in the play-in game right now. They're in the 6th seed, and we're still King. But we have that. Halliburton. The list goes on from 8K.
If Halliburton ever goes 4 for 9 from 3, he's going for 55 fantasy.
He's going for 55 fantasy points. I think I'm highly intrigued by Damian Lillard at 91. That's kind of what, and it's interesting to see him being the 4th highest projected point guard on the slate. Because SGA has the matchup against Utah. There's a 1,000-point spread in that game. OKC is at home against a depleted Utah team. Really hard to see SGA paying off that price, right? He can. I was gonna say we've seen him go 30 minutes, 60 fantasy points before, but I don't think he sees more than 30. This right. Might be your ceiling, right? They beat Washington by 40. He played 30 minutes. He had 56 fantasy points. But at 10-4, that's good. That's value. That's just paying it off, though, right? You're not getting anything exception there. But and to your point, there is a strong possibility that no matter what happens with Boston's defense, Dame goes for 56 tonight because he's one of the most prolific scorers we've seen, right? And he's been better, and he's had a really high ceiling of late. 3 of the last 5 games, he's gone for 55 plus fantasy points. Some of those matchups, Phoenix is whatever they are right now. They are terrible, 4th quarter team, and Dame. The Clippers have been a bottom 10 defense in the league. We'll talk about that a lot on this show today. The Lakers, bottom 5 in the league since the All-Star break. Previously, the last 40-point game, the Clippers, and Boston's different. They're just
It's funny talking about it the way I get it. Giannis is certainly the straw that stirs the drink here, but like we're still talking about the second place team in the conference as if
I
they
know.
have no shot at competing tonight.
No, they do have they absolutely have a shot.
No,
but,
I do. Yeah, it's slim, right?
They're just like obviously. I think you and I would both be way more confident if this was in Milwaukee, right?
Sure, agreed.
Because we've said it all year. Like, not to say Boston isn't good on the road because they're still the best team in the NBA at the end of the day, but they are almost outside of one possession game against Denver, flawless.
Yeah,
at home. And almost a random loss against Detroit early in the year.
But, they got blown out by the Clippers, but
Clippers too. Okay, so but I'm just saying, like those are two teams that are projected to basically either contend in the West or play them in the title,
finals,
right?
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that like they don't have a chance. Dame has a 35% usage and 1.4 fantasy points per minute. I think the most interesting part is he's still only 19% projected, and I think that's going obviously baked in. But if you're going to tell me that I have the opportunity, and obviously this game might blow out. Boston might just railroad Milwaukee, and that's that, right? No Giannis.
Mm-hmm.
But if it doesn't, you said it. Dame is obviously the reason, because I mean, as good as Chris Middleton can be and is, he's only going to be playing mid to high 20s minutes. So it's not like he's not going to score you 30 points in 28 minutes. I'm really intrigued by Dame. It's a stance that I'm going to take today. I'm going to play Damian Lillard today, 9,100. And I've said this to you a bunch of times. Like, first off, we don't know if Drew's in, so that could obviously soften the blow a little bit, I would say, for the matchup. But like good players, when they're being good players, sometimes it doesn't matter how good the defense is on the other end. So I'm gonna take the stance on Lillard today, and his monster numbers still at like too cheap of a price tag for a team to himself. And I'm gonna ride off into the sunset, or I'm gonna crash and burn, and that's okay. And I'm fully understanding.
Okay, I understand the tournament play there and tournament appeal for sure. When we go down into the mid tier, yesterday we discussed Garland versus LeVert. It's a little bit more savings there, $700. Desmond Bane, point guard eligible. You got Harden, Curry in that low 8K range. Where do you go in the mid tier? When it comes to this slate today.
So Halliburton's interesting. I think Desmond Bane is really interesting. 37 minutes in his second game back. They potentially have 8 players tonight, even after their recent call-ups. So they could just recent signings, because Giroux was already on the team. So he was like 1 of 8. If Santi Aldama doesn't play, they have 8 guys, granted that Vince Williams remains doubtful and doesn't play, right? Like he's not expected to play, so I'm just not including him. But if Aldama doesn't play, they have 8. Bane played 37 minutes in a game that Memphis only played 8 guys in. Like They played 8 guys, and 6 of them played 30-plus minutes, including Desmond Bane, who you have to assume, just based on his return, 32, 37, if it's a competitive game, he's probably playing 40 again. So, these are situations where the peripheral stats are on par with what they were. The minutes are great. The shot attempts are great. They just haven't gone in.
Right.
And Desmond Bane is a 47% shooter, 38% from 3 guy. If those shots fall tonight and Desmond Bane gets anywhere near 40 minutes, he breaks the slate because no one's playing him. I saw he's 5% rostered. Golden State could be without its anchor defensively in Draymond Green. And they've also, hit a little skid here now in the 10 seed. So,
it's one of the reasons why, we'll get to Jaren Jackson, but I agree with you. You could play Bane Jackson tonight. Those guys are going to combine for 50 shots, right? And no one's playing them. So I'm 100% on board with that. Obviously, if like White and all those guys are not White, if Brown, all those guys are out, Derek White, $7,500, huge bump. Jimmy Butler was at the shoot around. So, Rozier maybe takes a little bit of a downgrade there, but they're still potentially down. Bam, who runs the offense a lot, and no Duncan Robinson tonight, we already know. So maybe there's some value for Rozier there. And then the Portland guys. If Anthony Simons is out, obviously Scoot and Banton get a push here, but we've seen them play well with Anthony Simons. So 5,600 Banton, 5,400 Scoot Henderson just in the player pool anyways. And if you can late swap or leave yourself the ability to, and Simons gets ruled out, you might finally get the unlimited Scoot Henderson, right? And that's what we're looking for here.
Dude, his unlimited, even though he was like 10 of 30 in that one random game, he had 60 fantasy points ceiling. Like, we've seen 60 out of Scoot this year.
Mm-hmm.
Again, not going to shout 60, but the Clippers have definitely hit a little scuffle. They're on the road. Portland at home here. Like, obviously, Portland's not like a great team. And the Clippers, if they're firing on all cylinders, blow them out. But, like, I'd be willing to take shots on Scoot and Banton. This is what I mean by, like, a fun late swap.
Yeah.
Late swap slate. Like, swapping to one of those Portland guys, or both, honestly, knowing that potentially no Simons, Grant.
Pistons news: Fontecchio out, Taj Gibson out. Didn't last too long there. We're on point guard. Is a Moody here?
Shooting guard, small forward.
Shooting guard, small forward. Okay, and Sasser's here, but
Cade's not on the injury report.
Cade's not on the injury report, right? So, are they forced into Cade 35 tonight? Like, what's the still no? I mean,
I still don't. I mean, like, what? Like, with Sasser being there, I don't think they're forced into, like, I mean, Malachi Flynn played a bunch of minutes the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they give him, like, he looked kind of decent for them. If Cade plays 35 minutes, salute to those that play him. But, like, we just haven't seen it. Like, the last 5 games, he's been capped, and he's also let people play ahead of him.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if that's something that you're interested in, I get, like,
I wonder what that starting lineup's going to look like now, though, right? No Stewart, no Thompson, no Fontecchio. I mean, who's
Cade, Ivy, Duren.
Yeah. Moody.
And I mean, there's a case to be made. They did double big it last year, if you remember. They did a couple times with Wiseman. Could be Fournier. Could be.
You think it's Tosan? Play 28 minutes.
Could be Tosan. Could be Troy Brown. Could be Jared Rodine. Like, could be on a lot of different guys. But
we'll know.
We will fortunately know, or unfortunately know, depending on the direction they go. But Indiana plays Siakam at the 4. So, if they match up with Siakam, I don't think they would go like a Fournier. That would be like a criminal offense on Monty Williams. He should be thrown in jail for trying to put Evan Fournier at the power forward to guard Siakam, right? So,
yeah,
it's definitely an interesting case. I mean, if you think Cade plays more than 32 minutes, it's a great matchup. If you want to.
I mean, he's gone for 50 plus in 32 minutes before.
He
is super talented. It's very much in his bag to do so. But definitely risky. Where do we land on Patrick Beverley now at 4K? No Giannis. He's already been playing minutes. I mean, we saw this a little. There was that random game where he was getting the looks, and then Giannis ended up getting ruled out in that game too, right? And he had a good performance, didn't he?
Yes.
Was it the Clippers game here?
The Clippers game. He has not played in the Clippers game and the Phoenix game. And he played. And Beverly played 34 and 29 minutes. So he looked. Yeah. He looked good. I mean, he looked good in the Lakers or in the Clippers game. He looked terrible in the Phoenix game. I think it's
averaging 22 fantasy points in 3 games versus Boston this year. Yeah.
I think it's interesting, John, because we're gonna get to small forward, and there's a Bucks value. Did it stick? No, it's actually dipped off a little bit since this morning. Jay Crowder was super popular this morning. He's not
a revenge game narrative there for.
Yeah, also he started and played 32 minutes. He actually played 32 minutes the other day, but we'll see if that has trailed off quite a bit. He's now just 10%. Sure. I was gonna say maybe there's some leverage going to Beverly. I'm okay with it. I mean, I said it on the stream or on the podcast. I like Keon Ellis at 3,700. Like, they're essentially the same play, right? Like, essentially the same player. Ellis in a better matchup.
Yeah, Beverly looks for his shot more than than Ellis does, though.
Yeah. I wouldn't like necessarily be like expecting too many either one of them to go out and take like 12 shots.
Sure.
Like I'm not saying they can't. I'm just saying.
I was gonna say, I mean, we've seen it from Beverly a few times this year, him taking double-digit shot attempts. But either way, probably would agree with you. Yeah, they're both low floor, low possibilities. Shooting guard here. Again, Booker's 92. You have Jalen Brown at 87. We'll see if he plays or not. Paul George at 84. We've already discussed we like Desmond Bane a lot tonight. You could slot him in at the shooting guard position. Sexton 73. We didn't touch on Bradley Beal, but I mean, Brett Beal has been, we talked about one of the Phoenix guys will have a day, and then Levert down here at $7,100. Oubre at 66 as well.
Yeah, I mean, top tier, pretty straightforward. You can play any of them in tournaments. I'd say Derek White becomes kind of a lock in all formats. If there's no Drew or Jalen, you play Derek White in whatever gosh dang lineup you want at that point. Sexton in tournaments, Beal in tournaments. Levert's pretty safe regardless right now. 43, 55 fantasy points. 3 of the last 4 over 40. Starting, right? I mean, we've been kind of begging for Karis LeVert to start this whole time.
Oh.
Jalen Brown out?
Chimezie Metu is available to play for the Pistons today.
It's Chimezie Metu. I don't think he's even in the player pool.
I don't think he is either.
He's not. He's not.
He's not. They're going to start Metu. He's going to have a day, and we're not going to be able to play him.
No, it's not Christmas.
Yeah.
Chimezie Metu's favorite day is Christmas.
Yeah.
That they might. I mean, there is an actual possibility that Chimezie Metu is like firmly in this rotation. Definitely interested in LeVert starting. Toby was seen at shoot around.
Okay.
So I'd probably back off on Oubre a little bit if Tobias played.
Bam ruled out. Butler in.
Okay.
Thomas Bryant starting tonight?
Dude, they are not doing great because Love's already out. Now Bam is out. Jovic is questionable. Orlando Robinson's with the team, and so is Thomas Bryant. Cleveland is going to run traditional center, right? So do you feel like if you're the Heat, they have to match up with traditional center? Because you know what I'm going to say to you. I'm going to play Orlando Robinson and not Thomas Bryant. Like, I love playing Orlando Robinson. He is way better of a fantasy producer than Thomas Bryant. Obviously, you need the minutes. Orlando Robinson's not guaranteed, but anytime he's basically been the backup center.
I almost feel like you need Jovic out to play Orlando Robinson here tonight.
Probably, yeah, probably because you could play Jovic, I guess, in theory at center.
Makes me like Jared Allen a lot more.
It does. Jovic is available as of 1 minute ago.
Okay, so Jovic has started at the 5 before, so
yeah. So Miami's down. Kevin Love, Duncan Robinson, Bam Adebayo, Josh Richardson, Tyler Hero.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what we got for some. Yeah, thanks, Pablo. I just saw the update as well. So in a small sample, Caleb Martin is your basically clubhouse leader in fantasy production, John. 1.14 fantasy points per minute. Jimmy's at like 1.04. Orlando Robinson, 0.99. Thomas Bryant, 0.95. Just saying. Jaquez, 0.94. It's just not a good spot for Miami. Like, this doesn't like really make me want to get to anything Miami, does it? Like, in theory, Bam not being there is a big deal, but
no, I said I want to play. I would play Jared Allen now. Right, like,
on the flip side, yeah. Only thing with Jared Allen is the LeVert starting kind of hurts him, right? Because Jared Allen, with no LeVert earlier, was like racking up assists, and now
Allen might get like 17 rebounds if this game is at all like competitive. So
he could.
Any more news? We've got a lot of news here today as we work through. Malik Monk, one of the highest roster players on the slate.
Yeah, he's a great
player. And Fox actually are again out there, which is kind of surprising given the spread here, but Both guys getting a lot of love tonight, but Monk played 40 minutes, he said the other day. So
Yeah, 40 minutes, 43 fantasy points. That's what he is, right? He's been much better than a fantasy point per minute the
Yep.
entire season. Not afraid to shoot, and really good passer. I mean, quite literally does everything for.
Gary Trent 61, Grayson Allen coming off some really good games as well. We've talked Portland plays already. Norm was at shoot around today. Could have him returning for the Clippers tonight. As was Man. Man was also at the shoot around. Any other value plays? We did have a question, favorite value under 5K today. We'll get to that as we work our way through for Andy here. But any value shooting guards for you?
I mean, what do you make? Because you have been like interested in playing Grady Dick way more than I have.
Sure.
He is getting rostership. He's the second highest roster shooting guard of the day, 19%.
Yep.
What is your stance on Grady after we talked about him last night?
I mean, it's still sort of the same thing. I think that you take certain players off the floor and you see guys sort of step into differing roles, right? And while, Grady Dick in the past had not been asked to do a lot of much when they were without Quickly, right? That was his game, right? And they were obviously down more players than Emmanuel Quickly in that moment, but they're going to have to rely on his shooting. I know Gary Trent is active, and Gary Trent's going to take a lot of shots. I know Kelly Olynyk is active, and Kelly Olynyk is going to be someone that's going to be involved in the offense here tonight as well. But they're going to start Grady Dick here, and he's going to be a shooter for that offense. And I think he has shown the ability to give us some secondary stats here. So I'm fine playing him. I don't think he's like a must play by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm okay getting there, especially like you said, the field is also kind of getting to him here today as well.
Yeah, that's where I'm getting hung up. He's definitely more volume shooter than, let's say, a John Contra at 45, or even probably Umudi at 39. But I'd be interested to see after we get the next round of ownership update what Umudi is going to be, just considering everything out for Detroit, because he was getting 11% rostership to begin with, and now we don't know who's actually even starting or playing for Detroit, really.
Right. So, with pretty much everybody off the floor that's going to be off the floor today, Grady Dick has a 23.4% usage rate. So, he's up there, right? It's just
small sample, but it is good enough sample.
It's like 40 minute sample size, I think it is, or something like that. 48 minute sample size. So, but he's among there. I mean, usage rate doesn't mean everything. Ochai Abaji's got 28%. We know that guy sucks. So, it just is what it is here. And I would agree with you. Moody would be appealing. Would you give Malik Beasley any looks here? I mean, they're going to need to replace scoring, right?
Yeah, I mean, 17 against Phoenix, no Giannis. So there's obviously some merit to it. I think Crowder seeing 30 and Middleton being back definitely cut into like the days of Malik Beasley playing 30 plus, though. That's the only thing. I don't know how maybe he does get 30s if he's like really, really cooking. But even in a game, he goes 5 for 8 from 3, 29 minutes. It's not bad. I still probably prefer Contra Umudi to him, but I
think I would play Beasley over Moody. I know it's a big price difference, so maybe just from the value perspective, but
I just don't think that there's a scenario where he doesn't play like 30.
Well, he played those minutes, and he still like wasn't.
Well, he wasn't great, but
and there was no Cade in that game. Now there's Cade.
Yeah,
so.
I know. I like the minutes. The shot attempts were not great. Didn't make his threes. The peripheral stats were fine. 6 rebounds and an assist. The rebounds have been pretty consistent when he gets run, so I'd say that's something that can stick. Yeah, I'm not like in love with it, but I just feel like there's just no other options they have. Like he's gonna play 30 plus.
Okay. Small forward. Tatum's a $9,900. Kawhi 87, Paul George again, dual positional eligibility. Butler's in at 8K. Obviously, no Bam, no Hero, no Robinson. This could very well be one of two things. You either get the Butler going through the motions game, or you get the Butler takeover game. So, choose your own adventure there. But AK is a very good price tag for a guy that could, very easily pay this off.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not a great spot, and he had not been playing all too well to begin with. If you end up on Jimmy Butler at 8K, without like the other two of their like quote unquote big three, then it's fine. But like if the rostership spikes on Jimmy Butler, I just pass on that.
Okay, you like Siakam at 77 anyways, so it's down here.
Yeah, definitely a better spot for Siakam.
Definitely a better spot for him. Where else are you going to the mid tier?
In the mid tier, I mean, obviously Malik Monk, as we mentioned. I'd be interested to see if we get a report on Middleton's minutes. If we're gonna like loosen it and he could potentially play 30 minutes, I would definitely have interest in Chris Middleton at 62. But that's contingent on like the chance that he could play 30 minutes if we get that news from Doc. 25 minutes out of the gate for an oft injured player is very interesting, right? GG Jackson, 6K. He did not play 84 minutes, but he did get to 40. 37 fantasy points. Has not slowed down with Desmond Bane and Jaren Jackson back in the lineup. So no reason to think GG Jackson is not in the starting lineup tonight. No reason to think GG Jackson might not come off the floor if there's no Santi Aldama. Like, does GG Jackson just play 48 minutes if there's no Aldama? I mean, he's 19 years old. So probably has like, peak of his stamina career. So love GG at 6K. I think one of the more interesting plays of the day is Bruce Brown at 5,600 because we've seen like Bruce Brown have a very mixed bag of like everything. Very mixed bag of results, very mixed bag of minutes with like since he's been arrived in Toronto. Sometimes he like to a lesser extent, like Jimmy Butler likes to shoot. Sometimes he doesn't like to shoot, and he just like kind of flows through a game. It's a good price. It's really good eligibility. He's very popular tonight, 24% rostership, and I get it because he has great eligibility on a very shorthanded team. He, like Grady Dick, not a big sample, but has over a 20% usage as almost a fantasy point per minute. Like, it's a interesting. Toronto is just interesting in general because they're obviously just down all their best players, and Bruce Brown is a good basketball player, but it's just it's ebb and flow with him. I'd be more likely, me personally, to get to Bruce Brown over Grady Dick. Like I'd rather play Bruce Brown than Grady Dick personally.
Sure.
I think there's a better floor for Bruce Brown.
Yeah, I won't even argue that. It's obviously $1,000 more expensive of a player.
That's the difference. Like,
I would probably play Isaac Okoro over Grady Dick, honestly.
Ooh, that's interesting. That's a hot take.
4,800. Georges Niang's 46. Laravia's 46.
Lovely.
So definitely a lot of guys around Grady Dick that you could go to. But you're also looking at like Sacramento, pace-up team, not a great defense.
Yep.
He's going to shoot if he gets hot like he did that one game, then he's going to break the slate. So,
yep, agreed.
Definitely higher floors on the other players for sure.
What about 17% rostered Ochai Agbaji?
Yeah, I don't think I get there. Again, if he's someone that beats me, then he beats me. It's just the way it is. So,
what about $3,800 Evan Fournier?
I mean, if he's starting, I have interest. If he's not starting, there's a chance he doesn't play more than 20 minutes. So, I probably would only go there if he's in the starting lineup. Okay. Disagree or agree?
I don't disagree.
Okay. Marcus Morris?
Dude, 20 minutes off the rip. I mean, hey, welcome. You're in tonight. You're playing meaningful minutes. Yeah.
Right?
Fine.
It's fine. Now, and now we'll have non-BAM minutes to contend with,
He can score, dude. That's the one thing Marcus Morris has always been able to do. He can score the basket. He can put the ball in the hoop. So if Marcus Morris were to be extended past 20, even 20, 22, 23, 24, you're talking about a guy who can get hot fast.
Yeah, I agree. Power forward position. Tatum, again, we talked about Durant at 94, some tough games lately, but we know what he's capable of doing. I mentioned earlier, I know if Draymond's out, and we won't know until later, probably. I really like the Bane Jackson late night camera here. So,
dude, Memphis. This is the most interesting team that we're ever, or the most interesting Memphis team we're going to talk about the rest of the year, because they might only have 8 guys. Not their best 2 players, but 2 of their best 3 players are back, and they're taking all the shots and playing all the minutes, right? So if there's no Draymond, good luck TJD. I know TJD is a good defender and he's like a good basketball player, but this guarding Jaren Jackson when he's that aggressive, taking 27 shots, is a different beast. So
agreed. And obviously the defense is going to be there. So, I like both of those guys here. Pace out spot, going to shoot. I'm in on Jaren Jackson tonight. Jalen Williams, you have as the cover of tonight's live stream. 15-point spread though. So
getting a lot of love too. Second highest rostered power forward of the night. I think it's interesting. I think we've seen like Jalen Williams just get better and better throughout the year. Here are Jalen Williams' usage rates, John, over the last 5 games. Okay. 32, 24, 27, 31, 27. Like, he just has the ball in his hands so often. And I said it to you on last night's stream. Quite literally no reason he's under 7K still, coming off 40 in back-to-back games. Just absolutely no reason. He got hurt in the Memphis game and had 18 fantasy points in 10 minutes, by the way.
Yeah.
So if you can click on Jalen Williams and he only plays 3 quarters, he still might pay it off. And if Utah does keep it close, he might go for like 60 fantasy points.
And I mean, Utah certainly has scorers, but they're just down so many main pieces that I just don't think they have a shot.
I think they could keep it competitive enough. Jalen Williams has the Zion pattern, right? He's the early sub. So early sub, third quarter, late third, checks back in and plays into the fourth. Like, that could be beneficial to him versus SGA. SGA comes in at the 6-minute mark of the fourth quarter, right? If they're up 20 in the fourth, you're not getting SGA back in that game. You had Jalen play 4 to 5 minutes, maybe 6 minutes early fourth, right? Yeah. That's where I think the benefit to playing Jalen over SGA lies.
Okay. If there's no Draymond, I do like Kuminga here as well at $6,600, but same game. We'll just keep talking about it. GG Jackson's here, 6K, playing a whole lot of minutes, scoring a lot of fantasy points for us. We did the example lineup this morning. We basically stacked this game. So I don't think we're moving too far off of that. There is Cody Martin here, or Caleb Martin rather, that is going to get a boost. Jaquez down in this range as well. Hendricks at $5,100. Maybe Wiggins, if there's no Draymond, could get a bump as well here tonight. Like, what's your thoughts for the value power forwards?
Well, let's just go to the value power forward. Let's talk Jordan Nwora. What's your expectations of Jordan Nwora? He's the highest rostered player of the slate.
I know. He's been so efficient scoring the basketball, but we've seen this out of him plenty of times before when given opportunities to play.
He can score. He just can score.
So, I think you have to plug him just for the sake of the value.
So here's Jordan Nwora versus Orlando last game. They had Emmanuel Quickly in that game, so that's, I guess, the only difference, really. Jordan Nwora in the first half of that game played 9 minutes. He played 9 first half minutes. He then basically subbed Grady Dick out and never came off the floor for the third. He played 9 minutes in the third quarter, and he played 6 minutes of the fourth. So I don't know. I mean, he also closed in a blowout. There's a lot of paths to Jordan Nwora playing 25 minutes. There's also a lot of paths if this game stays close to Jordan Nwora playing 16 minutes. And if he plays 16 minutes, do you think he pays it off at 3,800?
I think so, yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, the price is there.
I'm a little more skeptical than that. I don't know. I don't know if I'm getting behind the most highly rostered player of the slate that comes off the bench at 38. I guess we'll see what they do with their starting lineup.
Sure.
Assume it's just Bruce Brown, and they keep Agbaji, they keep Grady Dick, keep Gary Trent, and then they play Kelly Olynyk. That's probably their starting five. Is Nwora your sixth man in that case? I guess so.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, you're looking at that rotation. I mean, again, Jonte Porter, they're not afraid to run double big. He's getting a ton of love as well. So, but they need scoring. So I could see it happening.
I also think there's a case here, John. If you think that Jordan Nwora is too highly rostered, pivot to Jalen Smith for $100 more.
True. Chalk play lastly.
He's getting 12%. Jordan Nwora is 42%. Again, not saying don't play Jordan Nwora, but I'm not convinced Jordan Nwora is like 25-minute per night guy. He hasn't been, and he only played 9 minutes in the first half. That ended up being a blowout, and he closed it. Right. So, just saying, I think there's a live possibility Jordan Nwora plays the 16 minutes, not the 25, and then you get Jalen Smith in his normal 18 to 20-minute role, and he's gone for 23 plus fantasy points in 4 of his last 5 games.
Sure. Moving on over to the center position, Sabonis is 10-7. Should be a pretty easy matchup for him here in this spot against Toronto. Then we have Ayton at 82, who we definitely love. I've talked Triple J. I've said I really like Jared Allen now in this matchup without Bam. I don't think you can go wrong with anybody in the 8K and above range.
Yeah, Sabonis getting a lot of love tonight, 21%. Second highest rostered center of the night. Definitely can get there. I think DeAndre Ayton going completely overlooked, and I get it because it's not the easiest spot. Ivica Zubac has been really good defensively this year, but DeAndre Ayton's been just amazing. 40 minutes in a lot of these games, even in a blowout loss against Boston, 22 and 15, 43 fantasy points. That's one of the best defenses in the league. 93 points against the Knicks. He played 40 minutes. He had 31 and 14. Like, there's nothing that can stop DeAndre Ayton right now. And I put up the short on our YouTube channel today. He leads the team in usage rate increase, sans the guys that are out, and that wasn't including the Simons downgrade. He also leads them in fantasy points per minute, 1.34. Like, DeAndre Ayton's been awesome. So no problem getting to Ayton. No problem. We talked about Triple J. Jared Allen, obviously in a good spot. You and I had a long discussion about Kristaps still last night, and I don't think we can really get to Kristaps. Moving forward, we didn't talk Bobby Portis at all, John. I think that's obviously a discussion that we should have.
Yeah, he obviously exploded. That one slate where there was no Bobby, no Giannis, rather.
Both. Not the one slate, both. Right. The Phoenix game.
The last one, and then the Clippers game.
And the Clippers game. I mean, 50 in both. Dude, 50 in both games.
He did, and I remember we talked about this because he didn't start against Clippers, and I played Brook Lopez instead. I pivoted. So I'm going to go Ayton over Jared Allen. I think
also going Ayton.
Ayton for you there. Yep. No, I agree. Bobby Portis has been crazy. Obviously, Boston is a tougher defense, but, they could also be throwing Cornette out there in the second half of this game. So
Bobby Poe, 12%. People aren't playing Milwaukee tonight.
Well, yeah, they're 10-point underdogs in Boston.
So. No, I know, but okay. Then why is everyone playing OKC 16-point favorites at home?
Is everybody playing OKC?
Yeah.
I see like, I don't know. I see some Shy. I mean,
Shea is 19% rostered, and Jalen Williams is the second highest rostered power forward of the day. I'm just saying, like, Chet is 15% rostered.
Sure. More people obviously going with Sabonis and Fox, but they're also in potential blowout games. So,
right. I'm just saying, like, I think there is a lot of potential blowouts tonight. Like, there's a lot of bad teams and big spreads tonight. I mean, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the 8 games have 10+ point spreads.
It's not great.
6 of 8 games. And then one of the games that aren't has a 205 implied total. Miami, Cleveland, and the other one is at 9. Phoenix, Philly. So like, you have to like at least at this slate, I don't think the spreads can.
Well, Lillard's up to 19%. So I mean, like
Lillard's up to 19, but I'm just saying, like Bobby Portis has gone for 50 in back-to-back games that Giannis hasn't played, and nobody's playing.
Sure.
Nobody cares.
Probably because of where they're. If you look at where their roster is, they're filling up their slots with everybody else.
Yeah. No, I know. I'm just saying. I've told you. I'm making a stand. I think I'm hoping Milwaukee keeps it.
Sure. So yeah, again, I think the 8K range, you can play any of those guys. I would play Ayton over Allen. If I had to pick mid tier, I mean, Durant obviously I think is in a good spot here against Indiana. You mentioned Turner obviously has had a lot of success against Detroit as well. Olynyk is getting some ownership here. And then you talk Bobby Portis at 6K. Is there value centers that you would go to? Walker Kessler, Jackson Davis, Jovic, obviously 4,400 is going to start. Jonte Porter, second highest rostered player on the slate. Like, are you targeting any of these plays?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously, if Collins is out, Kessler is interesting. Another late swap opportunity here for TJD. If there's no Draymond, we assume TJD starts, plays mid-20s minutes. It doesn't seem like he's going to be extended past the mid-20s minutes, but 4,900 was 19-9, 2 and 3 last game. So TJD obviously is in play. I don't know what to make of the Miami front court. I don't really want to play Thomas Bryant at 4K. That has never appealed to me ever. I mean, him sit out before. Thomas Bryant's only played more than 20 minutes twice this year. 24 fantasy points is his ceiling. So I'll pass there. I don't know what to make of Jonte. He's only 4K, dude. He's playing a lot of minutes. What are you doing with Jonte Porter? Because he's center only. Kelly Olynyk foul trouble is real. They're playing him together. He closed in a blowout last game, so like we have that. But if the game's not a blowout, I don't know. What are you making of Jonte Porter? Like, what's your stance on Jonte Porter?
I mean, again, I've said there's some potential low chalk here. Getting some Boston news. Missoula saying Drew unlikely to play today. So
makes me like Dame, dude. It just makes me like Dame more. I understand Derek White still exists in the world. But
does that put you on Pritchard at all?
It might. I told you my stipulation is one of Drew, Jalen, plus Sam Hauser being out puts me on.
Hauser unlikely to play.
I'm on Pritchard.
Derek White?
I'm in. Oh, dude, of course. I mean, Derek White, like Drew, more so if Jalen's also out, which obviously we didn't get the news. It's just Hauser and why did we not get the Jalen news? Why is he saving Jalen for last? Hello. I would say Derek White I'm more likely to get Derek White if Jalen Brown's out too.
Okay. Well, I'm sure we're gonna get that news, right? Like you're just feeding us Hauser and Holiday and nothing on Jalen Brown here?
Per Joe Mazzulla, he only spoke on Hauser and Holiday.
Of course he did. Okay. I don't know. Any other centers for you?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Let's build. Do we want to do the Memphis lineup here? We just jamming Memphis in this. I
want to play DeAndre Ayton.
Okay.
We obviously have to talk Toronto because they're a very hot topic here. Store.
I mean, there's Nora, obviously.
Yeah.
You like Lillard. I mean, you're there, right?
Yeah, I'm there.
Okay.
Like Pritchard over Ramsey. Yes, I would definitely play Pritchard over Ramsey. Like, I get Ramsey has played as the backup point guard, and I'm not against in like situations getting to Jamias Ramsey, but like kind of been a low floor play other than one decent outing. So
Pritchard's fine.
Now if Ramsey's starting at 3,200, that's a little bit interesting, Nico.
Did you do Scoot or Pritchard?
I mean, I'm less likely to get to Scoot if
you won't know.
Plays, but we won't know.
You will have some pivoting maneuverability here.
You will have some pretty good pivoting maneuverability. I mean, the Memphis game in general, like Laravia here. I mean, I don't want to stack. I guess I don't want to stack too much Memphis, but
I wanted to get to Jackson. I don't think we're gonna have the money to do it though. 2,700.
you won't be able to play Bane and Jackson. I think you just have to play or you don't play Dame.
Move off Dame. Derek White. The other side.
So I don't think White. I think we need Jalen out for the Derek White thing.
Okay.
I think we need because Drew's been more stand in the corner, knockdown 3 guy this year.
Okay. All right, let's go to Lillard. We'll move off Bane then. Would you rather have Bane or Jackson? You had to pick one.
Bane, but it's like super close.
Okay. 54-50 forward and a util. You like GG. GG works. We'll pivot that.
Yeah, GG or Bobby Poe.
And then TJD.
Yeah, TJD, and you'll have your pivot to like Laravia there.
Yeah.
If
all right, Lillard, Bane, Conter, Nwora, Ayton, Henderson, Jackson, and Davis here. Again, obviously some maneuverability with all the late game stacking here in this one. We'll have any updates for injuries for you guys in the Discord and in the playbook. If you have any questions, you can find us there. Get us on Twitter as well at JPemba777, at the @real_grande, at the _real_grande. I always get that one wrong. And then one last time here for today, because it starts tomorrow. You haven't already joined our free to play Fantasy Alarm Bracket Challenge. We have a $500 prize pool. Top 50% will split the $500 prize pool. The top 3 win a year subscription to Fantasy Alarm. Go to fantasyalarm.com/bracket or scan the QR code there. You fill out your bracket, confirm your phone number through Better Edge, who is supporting our game here this season. And you have an opportunity to take home some cash and maybe even a year subscription to Fantasy Alarm. So again, scan the QR code or go to fantasyalarm.com/bracket to fill out your bracket today. March Madness starts tomorrow. Don't miss out. James and I will be back tomorrow. Be sure to look out for the morning show to break down the Thursday slate. We'll be live again at 5 p.m. and we'll talk to you then.